Hi, it's me, Alex, a stay-at-home reader. I'm giving you an in-the-car book review where in the parking lot at the library I have three books to return. One I just never got to, unfortunately, so it was due back on Monday. I'm just going to go ahead and return it and get myself back on the holds list, and that is Stag Dance by Tori Peters. I loved Detransition Baby, and this is a short story collection, and I put myself on the reserve list, but the timing just didn't work out. I got caught up reading all the prize lists, short lists, and so those books are coming in one at a time. It's actually, I'm picking up one from the International Booker short list is waiting for me to pick up. So the timing's just not right, and this I think I would enjoy without the pressure of like feeling timed for those other books. All right, so what am I returning? And I don't have high hopes for this video because I really can't see my phone screen. The sun is right here. So I feel like there's going to be bad lighting. But I ended my last vlog starting Pale Shadows by Dominique Fortier, and this was shortlisted for the Carol Shields Prize. This book is about Emily Dickinson's sister-in-law, and the mistress of her brother. And their discovery of her poems in her room after she dies, and they're working to edit and publish her work. It goes over their grief a lot, and so each of the women get like a focus. They're very short chapters, and they just kind of cycle through each of the women, third person narration always. But we get to examine what their grief over Emily looks like without ever really even discussing who Emily was. It was very boring and slow and failed to make an emotional connection. What I did not realize was that this is actually a sequel or follow-up. Well, I knew this is from the author of Paper Houses. I didn't know that Paper Houses was about the life of Emily Dickinson, and this is about like the publication of her poems posthumously. So interspersed with, the three different coinciding stories of like the women working together, kind of, or reeling from her death. All of a sudden, midway, there's like a really weird point of view that's first person, and it almost seemed kind of ghostly, and I was like, who is this perspective? Like, that's about halfway through the book. Towards the end, there's a first person perspective from the author writing in 2020, or like writing about her experiences of 2020 and her anxieties during the pandemic. And it just came out of nowhere, and it made no sense, and it didn't fit, and I hated it. Throughout the book, there were also these like really corny, cheesy, trying to be poetic, I assume, lines that just made me roll my eyes. They were awful. These really flowery metaphors that were just not necessary, and I don't know if the author is to blame or this is a translated work. The translator is Rhonda Mullins, so I don't know who to blame for that cheesy, failed flowery, poetic style prose. But it didn't work. So I think I gave this 2 stars. I don't actually remember. But yeah, Liars, still my favorite of the Carol Shields Prize shortlist. Or is it because next I read All Fours by Miranda July, so this is also going back to library today. This is not only on the Carol Shields Prize shortlist, but it is on the Women's Prize shortlist. And it did not unseat Liars as my pick for the Carol Shields Prize, and it did not upset Fundamentally, which is my favorite off of the Women's Prize list, or what's left of it. This is a very controversial book. People love it, people hate it, and I am on the hate it side. I did not like this at all. I kind of resent the idea that this is the book for perimenopausal women, and then it's super relatable, and women of a certain age will totally understand this. Like, this is a book for mothers. This is a book for wives. No, I don't think so. This is a book for quirky, I'm very red, quirky, wealthy, white women. For artist types, it was pretentious, obnoxious. The whole perimenopausal element of being like what you can latch onto and relate to what she's going through is bull, because she only uses menopause as a convenient excuse to explain to her husband why she did what she did, which I haven't given you a synopsis. I don't know if I need to. I'm sure you've heard about it. It's about a woman who is some sort of artist, semi-famous, and very proud of that fact. Doesn't shut up about it. And she's traveling to New York, decides, mostly to prove a point to her husband, to drive instead of fly. So she's driving cross country. She gets half an hour away from home, has a really weird interaction with a man at a gas station, runs into him at a diner where she stopped for lunch, again, only half an hour into her trip, and then basically like stalks him, finds where he works, books a room at a motel, and hires his wife to decorate the motel room. Like, spends her entire $20,000 paycheck for this project that she got on redecorating the motel room. And she just stays there for the entire time that she should have been driving cross country and back. It is a story that ends up following her obsession with this man who, was married. Her dismissal of his boundaries in like a very predatory way. And then her fixation on the hormonal cliff that she's about to go off of, and her sexual identity. It was just bananas, bizarre, uncomfortable, just for the sake of being uncomfortable. Wasn't necessary. So yeah, like I was saying, she uses menopause as an excuse to explain to her husband why she's so distant and weird and standoffish when she returns from her cross-country trip, which she did not go cross-country. But she lied and made up stories to her husband and child the entire time. And then she goes to the doctor and finds out that she is in fact perimenopausal, and that rocks her. She can't believe it. So there is only one page that reflects on the experience of perimenopause and imagine being like men who don't have to experience this, who don't have to deal with a death within their lives. Which sounds very binary. The best thing about this book was the queer identity and like this like seamless acceptance of different identities and the rejection of binary. Even when it comes to relationships. But all of those like themes that I can find positive are overshadowed by her obsession and selfishness. And to me, she didn't feel like the every 45-year-old woman. She felt very immature and childish. And I mean, I was even looking up like Freud's stages of development to see like, oh, okay, yes, she is stuck in the phallic stage for sure. And that's not to imply that, Freud, that I personally align with all of Freud's psychoanalysis methods, but for such an over-sexualized book, he seemed like the one to turn to analyze his character. Her parents are obviously dealing with depression and some other mental health issues, and she, being the main character, I'm pretty sure she doesn't have a name. And that's not just me having terrible memory when it comes to character names. I'm pretty sure this is an unnamed main character. She clearly has depression that she inherited from her father. And I think that's what the story should have focused on, but it does not. And I think that's what it should be sold, like that should be the lead, not the menopause side. It should be the mental health issues. I don't think there's any character development in this. Which I guess you can argue because she's in a better place at the end, but it's a really weird ending also. That almost felt like too tied up in a nice little neat, pretty package. That almost feels like denial rather than growth. So yeah, if this wins the Women's Prize, if this wins the Carol Shield Prize, and if this wins the Pulitzer, because I feel like a lot of people are putting this on their Pulitzer possibilities, I would be absolutely furious. And so that's my mini rant video about prizeless flops. I do want to add that I think Sandwich by Catherine Newman has a very similar character. We have a woman in her 40s, experiencing the ups and downs of the hormonal changes at this point in life, dealing with anxiety and depression. There's also some unresolved issues regarding her, reproductive history. Very quirky, chaotic, high energy, scrambly character, but this book feels more real and much more relatable. So hopefully, now my International Booker Prize books are starting to come in. I have on my shelf at home Under the Eye of the Big Bird, and I'm about to pick up a leopard skin hat. Hopefully that prize I feel more aligned with. But all right, that's all I have for today. I will talk to you later.